Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. Today we are doing let me get my boy Millie in here. Melly, you up? One sec.
How you been, my guy?
You in?
How you been, my guy?
I'm good, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, good, man. Ready to talk this boxing.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. So, all right, guys. Yeah, like I said, True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So, we're doing episode 9 of the podcast, and my boy Melly's back with me to do another one. We had a pretty good one last time. Went kind of long because we just covered the whole year of boxing. But today we're gonna do a recap of the month of May, and then we're gonna get into just a couple other things. And then we're gonna do a preview of the month of June. We're gonna try to at least do this once a month, maybe a couple times a month. We'll see how it all rolls out. But we're gonna go in reverse and go with the most recent fight card and roll into the older ones in May. But we'll start with the undercard of the Tank Davis versus Rolly Romero Showtime pay-per-view that took place this past Saturday on May 28th. Start with the Eduardo Ramirez and I think his name was Melendez. What'd you think about that opener that took place the other day there, Melly?
I didn't really see that one right there. Only fight I really seen on that card really was the Lara fight and the Tank fight.
Yeah, I didn't really catch it either, man, because didn't really see what was going on with that.
Yeah,
But
I heard one of them. I heard one of those fights was controversial though.
yeah, that one ended by a majority decision for Ramirez. He's been around, not really much to talk about. He was talking about possibly getting a title shot, but he still needs a crack into my top 10. He's close. PBC might keep him busy, but not really a lot to talk about there. The next one was, I think his name is Jesus Ramos. He took on Lucas Santamaria. And the only reason why this one was significant is because Santa Maria upset Abel Ramos, who was a legit top 10 welterweight up until he lost to Santa Maria. And Jesus Ramos is the nephew of Abel Ramos, and he's an undefeated super welterweight contender, but
Yeah,
he's still got a lot to learn. What'd you think about that one, man?
yeah, I seen that right there. He got a he got if I think he needs a couple more fights before you start putting him in there with those top guys.
Yeah, he's an exciting dude, but I didn't really think it wasn't really. He said that Santa Maria, because I didn't see the pay-per-view, but
I say he
what I
ran.
read, yeah, what I read was that that dude didn't really want to fight, is what Ramos said. So I'm not sure how true that one was. He said that that's why he got like a one-sided decision, but it was kind of uneventful from what I read. So.
What you thought about the Lara fight?
Yeah, that one's next. Lara defended his title against Spike O'Sullivan, his secondary belt. Got a eighth round stoppage in that one. Again, I didn't see it, but from what I read, he just broke Spike down and then stopped him in the eighth
I
round. What do you
watched
think?
it. I watched it. Laura, he looked sharp, but he got hit with a little too many body shots. Though he was getting tagged with a shot, but really that's because one thing I noticed about Laura is he's still he's still very skilled, but he ain't got the legs to move around for the whole 12 rounds. So he got to stand toe to toe more than what he used to do.
Yeah. I got the same kind of assumption from him, is that he's showing more power because he's sitting down on his punches, but it's because he has to. He's getting old, so he can't move around the way he used to. So it's going to call for more exciting fights. But you're right, he's going to get hit a lot more, in that
Mhm.
scenario. But to go knock out a dude like Spike O'Sullivan, whatever. He's staying busy and stuff. But what do you think he does going forward, man?
I kind of got the feeling that the WBA they might order him versus Eubanks because Eubanks was the mandatory, and Triple G probably going to vacate the belt soon, so they probably gonna order Lara versus Eubanks for the title. And that's a good fight to me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm thinking the WBA is going to wait to see what Triple G wants to do following the Canelo fight,
Hmm.
and then after that, I mean, Triple G's got a couple choices. He's got two mandatories due. He's either got Erislandy Lara or he's got Esquiva Falchao. from Brazil for the IBF. If Triple G decides to continue after the Canelo fight and come back down to 160, Erislandy Lara makes a lot of sense. But is he going to continue? And if he doesn't, I agree. I think Lara's probably going to end up moving forward with somebody. Chris Eubank fight would be good for him. It'd be good for Eubank too. And I also think there's the options of possibly the Charlo brothers. If he gets upgraded to full champion, one or both of them might want to fight him, especially if Jermell moves up to middleweight. I think Jamal, if he stays at middleweight, he might want to unify titles if it's for the legit WBA belt.
Yeah, I think if they made Lara the champion, the PBC would probably make a Charlo versus Lara fight, because if Charlo wins, that gives the PBC more leverage.
Yeah, gives him 2 belts. I agree. I think there's a good chance Jamal's going to move up to 168. He's going to be pressured into moving up to go after Canelo. But I think if Jermell doesn't get Terrence Crawford and stays at 154, I think there's a good chance Jermell moves up to 160, fights Carlos Adames for the vacant belt, and then if he wins the vacant WBC belt, and then Lara is the WBA champion, he's the Charlo brother that's not afraid to fight anybody. So
this is the interesting thing about Jermell moving up. If Jermell moves up and wins that WBC belt, I can damn near guarantee you, Golden Boy's not putting Munguia in there with Jermell.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they don't seem to want to put him in there with anybody right now. So,
and that's my thing about Munguia. That's when, it's really in general, when you got promoters who clearly are protecting fighters.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to have to throw him to the wolves. Eventually.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about him. He's fighting on the 11th of this month. Yeah.
This is the thing, and this is how I know how Golden Boy looks at the fighters. You can say what you want about when Canelo with Golden Boy, but can't nobody deny it. They threw Canelo to the wolves early. They threw Canelo to the wolves at a very early age. When Canelo, they wasn't really protecting Canelo they were putting Canelo in there with Trout, Floyd, Lara. They were putting Canelo in some hard ass fights at 154.
Well, I also think it has to do. I mean, and we'll get to a little bit more with Munguia in his next fight. I also think it has to do with the fighter. If the fighter is willing to push and really gets on the management's ass, then they ride the promotion. So I really think it has to do with Munguia too, and his management team outside of Golden Boy.
Then another thing about Munguia is, what belt is Munguia going to fight for? Because the WBA, he's not number 2. That could be an option. I don't see him going to WBO, because I don't see him putting him in there with Johnny Beck. And I don't see him putting him in there. If Jermell becomes WBC champion, I don't see that fight happening. So probably the only belt I can see him going for is maybe the WBA or probably the IBF.
Yeah. And like I said, he's got to be willing to do it. But we'll talk about Munguia in a bit when we discuss his next fight. Let's jump to the main event though. Tank versus Rolly, man. Again, I just saw the ending, the knockout. Tank wins by 6th round knockout. What'd you think of the fight, man?
It went kind of how I thought it would, but a little earlier than I thought. I had Tank winning by. I thought Tank would win by a later round knockout, but I knew it was gonna be entertaining though. And
I mean, and from what I read, it was Tank was kind of reserved to pull the trigger, and then when he finally did, man, you saw what he did. He cracked Romero. That was a great shot and knocked him out.
The thing about Tank, I think Tank was just fighting smart. Cause Rolly is a big, strong, powerful, and very awkward fighter. So you gotta really wait a couple rounds to get a feel for his style before you start trying to throw bombs right back at him.
Yeah, well, hey, as long as you get the knockout, that's all that matters, man. I mean, and that's the thing is he got it, and it was impressive. So, what do you think he does?
Yeah, I was definitely say that, but me and you were saying yesterday, it's time, bro.
Yep.
It's time. If it's not now, it's never going to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, especially with him being gone from Mayweather Promotions now, he's got all the options in the world. And like you were saying yesterday, he's a big draw, so he doesn't have to run and sign with a certain promotion to guarantee his money. He can guarantee his money himself. He can promote himself. He can
And
be a free agent, you know, and
exactly. And coming off a performance like that, it's gonna make it's gonna like Tank is in a position right now where he got three different divisions, but 135 is where the money's at right now.
absolutely.
That's where the big money fight is.
That might
If
be
he
the best division in boxing
if
overall. It might be.
if, if Tank gonna stay at 135, the only option I see the is Loma, Ryan, Shakur, Cruz, and the Hank Count both of them. Those are the only fight I can see him doing next if he's gonna stay at 135.
Well, we were talking yesterday is you have to take Haney and Cambosos off the table because there's a rematch clause if Haney wins, and if he doesn't win, Cambosos is fighting Loma next. So Haney, if Haney wins and they have a rematch and he beats him again, Haney has to fight a third fight with Top Rank. So where does that leave Tank? And to me,
And then with another thing with Haney and Cambosos, even if the winner becomes undisputed, they're not guaranteed to be undisputed by the time you face them. Because then you can start seeing mandatories pop up
yeah.
and all that. So,
But to be honest, I think these guys bring in so much money to where undisputed is not going to be that important as long as they're fighting each other, especially if Davis and Ryan Garcia decide to lock horns. And to be honest, neither one of them, like Ryan Garcia is fighting Javier Fortuna in July, but he gets through that fight. Neither one of them have another big name option but each
this
other.
is I I had arguments with people about this when I said this. Haney and Camboso is for undisputed big fight. But I'm telling you right now, that fight is nothing compared to Ryan versus Tank.
Yeah, in terms of star power, in terms of record,
But
absolutely. You know?
that fight has everything. You got two young fighters. You got two exciting styles. The pre-fight is gonna be amazing. It's guaranteed. Whatever arena you put it, it's gonna sell out. Plus, then you got the Floyd versus Oscar subplot right in it because these are the guys under them.
Yeah, well, the way I see it is this is it's almost like a tournament style format now because you have Haney, Cambosos, and Loma sitting on one side of the coin. They're going to fight each other no matter what. What's the other side of the coin? There's no other options, and to be honest, whoever comes out on top between Tank and Ryan, if they fight, they're not going to be able to fight the winner of Loma and Cambosos till next year. So they got to do something. Why not fight each other in the second half of this year? That would be a
I
huge fight.
think
Everybody believes that they're both ready. They're both undefeated. They're both knockout fighters. I think it's got to happen, man.
I think I got a feeling. I got a feeling though that Tank next fight is probably going to be Cruz, just for the simple fact Cruz team turned down a Ryan fight, said they had other plans with Cruz. And
Right.
if it's not Tank, who the hell is a big enough fight for you to turn down a Ryan fight?
I honestly think it has nothing to do with whether it's Tank or not. It could be. I think it more has to do with PBC working with Golden Boy. I think that's what it comes down to. Those
Yeah,
two sides just don't want to work with each other, man.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Because I can agree with that because there have been examples of fighters from both promotions accepting fight with each other, but it breaking down because the network don't want to work with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a still, they're a little bit more willing than it was a couple years back, but it's still a sad state of, of
The
things where the
the
best fighters will not fight each other,
It's
you know?
damn near like the only time the PBC and Golden Boy work with each other is when they got no choice.
Yeah. When it's a mandatory fight. Yep.
They have no choice but to work with each other.
Yeah, and and you can throw Top Rank in that mix too with the
Hmm.
PBC and a
Yeah.
lot of times the Golden Boy.
Hmm.
It's those four major promotions.
Matchroom.
Yeah,
Fight,
Matchroom
PBC.
and Eddie Hearn. That of course they'll work with Golden Boy and everything because they're both tied to the zone. But trying to work with each other has been very difficult, and that's why when one of those fights gets put together, it's like exciting. It really is
Mm-hmm.
exciting because you're like, oh shit, those guys are actually fighting each other.
The thing,
So
I, some like boxing fans, in my opinion, this is on the Ryan point. Boxing fans, in my opinion, are hypocritical for the simple fact. How can you say for the last year Ryan ducked Fortuna, and then as soon as the fight happens, now Fortuna's a nobody?
yeah, exactly. And we talked about this yesterday. What has Fortuna done? He lost to Joseph Diaz in a very close, very good fight.
Then
That's all that happened since. So
and
now Fortuna's a nobody. He's a former champion, dude. This
this
is
is
a good
my
fighter.
opinion. The way people are reacting to that fight now, that just shows me you guys were never interested in that fight in the first place.
Well, they're just
You
uneducated,
guys
is what
just
it is.
ran guys just ran with a narrative that he ducked Fortuna just to criticize Ryan.
Well, the thing is, what I notice is most fans are uneducated. It's like the fans that were knocking Bivol against Canelo. It's like just because you don't know him doesn't mean the dude's not a good fighter. And Fortuna is the same thing. Fortuna doesn't have a huge name, but he's a good fighter. And if
And,
you're a real boxing fan, you know what's up with him.
and he's a top 10 lightweight right now. Ain't
Oh
he
yeah,
the,
and lightweight might be the best division in
ain't,
boxing. So
like
that tells you something right there.
like I look at this. I don't have a problem with the fight. I like it for one reason. Ryan is gonna clean the slate. He's gonna get
Mhm.
that off his back. If you go out there and beat Fortuna, you can't use he doubled him, how he doubled him, and he went back and beat him. And they try to say, well, he picked Fortuna over Cruz. Cruz manager turned that fight down.
Yeah.
That wasn't
Well,
on. That wasn't
and to
on
be
Ryan.
honest, Fortuna is going to be maybe the second best fighter on Ryan's resume once that fight's over if he beats him.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Luke Campbell. So it's a good win, man. People really can't
Mm-hmm.
complain because if he beats him, it's a good win. And the question that everybody wants answered is Ryan that good? Is Tank that good? Well, if they fight each other, they can be the next big star,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a guaranteed shot at the undisputed title next year.
Yeah,
So
and Ryan, it, Ryan Fortuna's a good fight.
yeah, it's a good one.
But
I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of action in that one. I think honestly, I think Fortuna has a good chance of catching Ryan the way Campbell did because he's a slick southpaw and he's got power. So
mhm,
we'll see.
it's
But
gonna be it's gonna be a good fight to watch.
yeah, I think
If
so too.
and if Ryan wins, Ryan just like Tank is gonna have a lot of options for his next fight
Yeah,
because because it's like 135 is an interesting division because the two guys fighting for the championship, undisputed, nobody knows, and they really are not that big of draws. But the two guys who are not champions are the two biggest stars in that division.
yeah. Yeah, well, and like I said, the time is now for both of them, in my opinion. And I almost look at this fight, and it's the last thing I want to say about this. I almost look at this fight the way I look at Crawford and Spence is you're not going to have a better opportunity because Crawford isn't tied down to top rank and Tank isn't tied down to Mayweather anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now you kind of want to work this fight out. And now that DAZN is as smartened up and is doing DAZN pay-per-views for special occasion fights, this would be one of those special occasion fights. And that would draw a lot of people,
And,
dude.
and even if Tank decides to stay with Showtime, this is a big enough fight to where you guys can co-promote, and both
Yeah.
sides will make money.
Yeah. But that's a lot easier said than done, man. Those two people do not want to work with each other. So we'll
It's
see. We'll
that
see.
that that in-house bullshit has fucked boxing up.
Oh yeah, it really has, man. It really has. So we'll
Cause
see what happens. But all right, we're gonna move on now to the weekend of the 21st. We're gonna start with some of the lower level fights and then work our way up to the big fight that happened on the 21st. But You had Joshua Buatsi against Craig Richards. It was a close fight, ended in a unanimous decision for Buatsi. Did you see that one, Mel?
I've seen a little bit of the highlight. This is my thing about it. Eddie Hearn, I don't think Buatsi is ready for the top guys, but this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Even though Zerto is the mandatory to Bivol, I really think Hearn believed that fight, Zerto versus Bivol, is too risky when there's a potential Canelo rematch next year that's going to be massive. And I think that's why he's pushing so hard for Bivol versus Buatsi.
Yeah, I agree. Especially after the way Buatsi looked against Richards compared to the Bivol. I really think Buatsi's he's no match for Dimitri Bivol right now. I really don't see it. And I think it's a good stay busy kind of opponent, undefeated. And you're taking too much risk fighting Zerto
If
next,
I'm
which is
Golden
disappointing,
Boy,
you know?
if I'm Golden Boy, I'm pushing the WBA hard. Mandate this fight ASAP.
Yeah, but the WBA, the one thing I know about them, they're a lot like the WBC. If they see a potential big fight down the road, they don't want to ruin it. So they're probably not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be Bivol and Buatsi later this year.
That's
So, yeah.
like,
On Pro Fight TV on Friday night, Jean Pascal and Meng Fanlong. Did you? I didn't see the fight, but I saw the highlights, and
yeah,
I what'd you think about that one, man?
that was a big upset. I think
Yeah,
Jean Pascal, after that performance, he put himself right back in discussion for big fights.
absolutely, dude.
You
Couldn't
know,
agree more. Like
you know,
I was almost happy that he won. You know?
you know who I would like to see. Now that's a good fight. Buatsi versus Pascal.
Yeah.
I feel like that fight there would tell us if Buatsi really ready to try fighting those top dudes.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one right there. But
And
hey, let's throw another one out there that could be an option. What about Zerto versus Pascal, man?
Berto would
You know,
destroy Pascal. I don't.
I think you would too, but it's a good stay busy fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Pascal's a big
Hey,
name.
what
He's a former
about
champ.
Jean Pascal versus Callum Smith?
Again, Callum Smith, I like that fight too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing about Pascal. He's not afraid to fight anybody, and at this point, if he loses, nobody's going to be surprised. But the fact that this guy keeps coming back and being competitive and in the top 10 at light heavyweight,
And
I
then
just love that. You know, I really do.
and
So,
then make
much props to Jean Pascal, man. I really give him a lot of
and
props.
then it make the thing John Pascal victory even better. He came off a layoff and he went against a young contender and beat him.
Yep, sure did. Yeah, Fanlong almost fought Better Biev last year for the title.
Yep.
So,
So
yep. So
it's
that was a good win.
so it's not like he came back to beat some scrub.
Yeah. Well, speaking of an upsetter, man, I want to give some love. This fight wasn't on, but I've been paying attention to this dude ever since the COVID year because this dude scored a major upset, two major upsets during 2020 during COVID. He beat Ionut Baluta. He defeated TJ Doheny and then David Allen Joyce, and he actually fought Michael Conlon last year and lost a very close decision to him. Well, he came back against another up and coming English dude named Brad Foster, and he pulled off another upset, man. Baluta is no joke. This dude, he's a top 10 guy at 122. He's got an awkward style, but this is a guy that was like 14-3 before he beat TJ Doheny, a former champion. I mean, I just want to give some props to him for scoring another big upset, man. That was huge right there. I was like, I started laughing when I saw that because I actually predicted the upset. And Brad Foster, solid fighter, you know, and I was just happy for Baluta. So that was a nice win right there.
I'm gonna have to research more on him.
Yeah, he's a top 10 guy. But bigger names, we get into the ESPN card. Tremaine Ortiz upsets Jamel Herring in Jamel Herring's debut at lightweight on ESPN,
I
man.
seen that Jamel he retired. You know, I forgot the guy name that beat him. Ortiz.
I think it's Tremaine Ortiz.
Yeah, he's a young dude. You know,
Yeah.
after that big win, you know I'd like to see him fight next.
Who's that?
Nakathila.
Yeah, why not? I mean, he definitely has to step up his game after beating Herring. And both of those guys beat two guys who were top 5, top 3 guys at 130 last year. So
I like
yeah,
Nakathila. I think
yeah.
Nakathila, I think Nakathila can be one of them dudes who's always like not a top, not one of the cream of the crop, but one of
It's
those
almost like a
dudes,
Richard Comey.
but one of those dudes that on his best day he can give the power he possesses is gonna make him a threat to anybody. Because if he hits you
Well,
clean,
I think it's a younger version of Richard Comey, bro.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
see in him.
If
Yeah.
Nakathila hits you clean, the whole fight may change.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. So yeah, that was a nice win. Tough to see Herring because I actually got to see Jamel Herring live when he beat Lamont Roach Jr. in Fresno. Me and my wife went and saw that, and that was actually cool, man. Him being a former Marine too. That they made a big deal about that night, and I like Jamel Herring. I always have. He's got a real nice story. The way he won the title the day that his daughter had passed away years before. He won it on the same date when he won the world title. So I was kind of bummed to see him
Yeah,
lose back to back, but
I
he had a
think
decent career.
I think Jamel Herring, people kind of downgrade him because of the Shakur fight, even though he was coming off a major win over Kyle Froch at the time.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't look at that win that say Jamel bad because Shakur is a potential generational talent. So him
Oh
losing
yeah, for
here,
sure. That was one of those just bad matchups right there, man.
him
For him,
losing.
stylistically, it was just a bad matchup for
I
Herring
think
to go against
I
him.
think
So
what made that loss worse was how he lost. He lost in a way nobody seen he was gonna lose. Like Shakur straight up just that was Shakur versus Jermaine. That was one of the best examples of calculated aggression. I thought he's defensive, but he's walking you down the whole fight. Like, and I
well, and
think
then that's the thing is Shakur might have just beat him up to where. He coming into this fight, he's still feeling the effects of it.
like
Plus we got to remember that Herring is like 36, man. So he's up there,
still
dude.
old. What you thought about the Janet Beck fight?
Yeah, that one's next, man. I mean, he looked good, dude. He wiped out Danny Dignam in no time, and
This is
that was impressive.
I like
So,
Janet Beck. He's
me too.
southpaw. He remind me of a southpaw Triple G.
Yeah, he has the same
And
kind of style. That's why
this
his nickname's Kazakh style. I
this
love
is
that.
this is no, but this is my thing about Janet Beck that and that I argue with a lot of Boo Boo fans about. How can you say you the boogeyman when there is somebody that's been actively calling you out for a while? He is your mandatory, but now you want to pull oh, he ain't a big enough name for me. So basically, Boo Boo, you gonna do the same thing to Janet Beck that you've been complaining about all these other guys been doing to you.
Well, the thing is okay. What big names has Andre been fighting? Then is what I want to
That's
know.
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
you
I
can't
mean,
use it. He's not a big
yeah,
name, but
yeah,
I look at it like this. You didn't say that when you was finna fight Jason Quigley. You didn't say
yeah,
that when you was finna fight Liam Williams. You didn't
yeah,
say none of that. And these are guys that nobody wanted to see you fight. Nobody thought had a chance. Now you got Johnny Beck, who was a mandatory that people actually want to see you fight.
yeah.
And
The
now
real
you want
boxing fans
and now
want to
you
see
want
this
to pull
dude
that
fight you. You know.
and now you want to pull that he ain't a big enough name stuff. You
Yeah,
didn't.
I honestly think Andre's in a position where, well, one, he's in a no, he has to fight him or he's giving up the belt. The
Nah,
WBO already ordered the
and
title fight
and
for
look,
November.
There's another thing about Boo Boo, right? Like I told some Boo Boo fans, Boo Boo cannot use the I'm being ducked excuse no more. Cause I can name at least 4 young guys who have said Benavidez wants to fight you, Morale wants to fight you, Zach Parker wants to fight you, Janny Beck wants to fight you. Those are 4 guys right there who have all said they want to fight you. So you can't use the I'm being ducked excuse. You can't use that excuse no more. Because you got
Well,
fighters.
he really can't, or he's got to give up the belt because
And,
the WBO ordered that the fight. I think because of the injury, they gave Boo Boo a little bit more time because of his injury that he suffered. They gave him a little bit more time, so they said that fight has to happen by November, or he's got to give up the belt.
and,
Plain and simple.
and Boo Boo,
So
and look, it's critical for Boo Boo because Boo Boo, that belt is the only leverage you even got.
Yeah.
You lose that belt, you might that belt is the only chance you have of getting a big fight.
Yep.
If you lose that belt, you're never getting a big fight. You're not getting that fight because
Yeah.
just like the Gary Russell thing. If guys didn't want to fight you when you had a belt, what's gonna make them want to fight you when you ain't got a belt?
Exactly. Yeah.
This
So
this is what I think Boo Boo should do. Fight Johnny back, get that out the way, cause you fight Johnny back, you get that means cause you fight Johnny back, you beat Johnny back. Now you are a free agent coming off a big win over a young rival contender. You can move up to 158, become mandatory. You have leverage now.
yeah, but that requires taking risk, and that's something him and Charlo haven't been willing to do, man.
And
So
this,
we'll see.
I always, and that is why I've never really, I can't. That's why I never really considered Boo Boo the boogeyman. I mean, I can agree. There's fighters, Charlo, Munguia, Billy Joe. They didn't want to fight you. But I seen Laura say he wants to fight you. I seen Derevyanchenko was willing to fight you. Risotto was willing to fight you. Jermell Charlo was willing to fight you. There have been fighters throughout your career that was willing to fight you.
Yep.
You turned down the Derevyanchenko fight because you said you didn't have enough time to train, even though you had at least 8 weeks to get ready for that fight. You said Laura was boring. Risotto, his fans talking about what did Risotto do for Boo Boo. What he's a name. Boo Boo like Boo Boo, you haven't fought a top contender. You haven't fought a former champion. You haven't fought anybody with a name in 10 years in two weight classes.
Yep.
You're not finna tell me you're that avoided. You're not finna convince me of that.
No, not at all. He's
In
really
my
not. You know.
in my opinion, to me that shows me you're going to Eddie Hearn. You're saying Eddie Hearn could give me Triple G, Munguia, Canelo, or Charlo. And if those fights don't happen, you're just picking the bottom of the barrel.
Yep.
That's how I
Agreed.
look at it. I, I,
Yep.
I look at it. Okay, he's avoided by those dudes. But Boo Boo Andre has never ever went out there a contender. He has never went out there a contender at 54 or 60. And that is facts.
Yep. It is.
That is facts. Cause
Yep.
you mean to tell me those dudes at 154 wouldn't want to fight you? Tony Harrison, Rosario, Lubin, Laura, Trout. You mean to tell me you really want me to convince Jerry Hurd? You want me to think to convince those guys wouldn't want to fight you?
Yep.
Those guys didn't want to fight you. Like man,
Yeah.
like
Well, moving on, we go to the Showtime card, the co-feature. Real quick, let's talk about Gomez versus Cotto. What do you think about Yoelvis Gomez? The undefeated. He's only got about 6 fights in now. He got a unanimous decision over Cotto. What'd you think about that one?
didn't really see too much about that fight. Heard about it, I didn't really see too much of it.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, he knocked Cotto down early and then just kind of broke him down. He looks like a seasoned veteran. He's only 6 fights in, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't put him in the top 10 yet. But it was a nice
the
performance. So let's
PBC
just say
card, I
that.
was really waiting to see how the Lemieux Benavidez fight was gonna go.
Well, let's talk about that one next, man. Benavidez goes out there, gets a third round knockout over David Lemieux. What do you
hmm
think, man?
I think the same thing I said about Tank. It's time.
Yep.
It's time. Your next fight has to be a big fight.
Yep.
And the only option I see for your next fight is four guys: Charlo, Plant, Boo Boo, or Morel. Those are the only four guys who I want to see Benavidez fight next.
Well, let me
Any,
answer those. Let me answer all those in order. Charlo's scared. He ain't gonna fight him. Caleb Plant, maybe. I don't know. I can't get a good read on Caleb Plant because that dude, 1 minute, it seems like 1 minute he's down to fight, and the next minute he isn't.
I think,
Um,
I think Plant is supposed to be fighting um the Anthony Doria later on in the summer. The
yeah, that'll
PBC
take that'll take the Benavidez fight off the table then.
the
So
PBC ain't really announced their summer plan yet, but um some of the fights they're planning on doing is starting to get leaked. You heard about they talking about doing Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez Jr. at 154.
No, I haven't heard that. That's actually a good matchup,
Yeah,
though.
they,
So,
yeah, they, yeah, they. But see,
but
that fight there, it's clear PBC wants just they want to give Danny Garcia a win over a notable over a known name, and then they're probably gonna put him in one of those big names right out there.
well, I think also part of it is that Danny wants to. He's only going to stay at 147 for a big fight, and if he can't get it, he's grown out of the weight. He wants to fight at 54. So
But like you said, Jose Benavidez Jr. That's a good first fight.
I think so too. I think it's a risky fight, to be honest. So,
But yeah, like we were saying though,
but
Benavidez it's time, bro. You like. I think David Morrell would actually be the most willing to fight him.
I think so too. And I don't know if you heard Morrell this past week, but he said once he's done with his fight this weekend, he's going to make Benavidez his bitch. That's what he said.
To see,
So I love that kind of shit talking right there.
David Morrell supposed to be fighting this week, I think.
Yeah, he is. He's fighting. We'll get to that. He's fighting on the undercard of the Showtime card this
Yeah.
weekend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I think Benavidez, him and Morrell, I think that's the most likely option right there because I don't think the other guys, especially with Boo Boo getting hurt now, I think that's going to be his excuse to not fight Benavidez in the second half of the year. So,
hold on, let me put my phone on charging before it goes dead. The thing about Morrell, his next fight, he has to look impressive because now your name is starting to get bought up.
yeah, he's good though, and I think he will be impressive. So
now, because now your name is starting to get mentioned with the Plants, the Charlos. I think Morrell need to go out there, handle his business, and he need to get on the mic and call out everybody.
yeah.
Charlo, Plant, Boo Boo, Benavidez. He needs to just say anybody. I'm willing to fight them all.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep it moving, man. We're going to move on to the cards that took place on the 14th. We're going to start with the DAZN card. First fight out, I don't know if you saw that card, was William Zepeda, undefeated lightweight on the rise, took on former champ Rene Alvarado. Did you catch that one?
Yeah, I seen some of the highlights. Good back and forth fight. Zepeda, I don't think Zepeda ready to get in there with those big guys there, though.
No, he's not top 10 yet, but we'll see. You know, beating Alvarado was one thing. I think if he would have knocked him out, that would have said a little bit more,
If he
but
was
he
Golden
didn't.
Boy,
So
I think ain't he with Golden Boy?
yeah, he's with Golden Boy.
Put him in there with Jojo Diaz next.
Yeah.
That's
But we had Zerto against Dominic Boazel. Not much to talk about. Zerto dominated him, stopped him in 4 rounds. So
Zerto. What surprised me about Zerto was when I seen how much he rehydrated to. He rehydrated to 204.
yeah, he's a big boy.
Zerto. One thing I peeped about Zerto that I think is smart about Zerto is he's talking about that cruiserweight fight against Makabu a lot. And it's a smart move because you go up, let's say he goes up and he fights Makabu and he beats Makabu. Now you got the cruiserweight championship. Can you leverage Canelo? I don't think so, but it would be a nice play. But if I'm him, I'm pushing for that WBA mandatory getting built.
Yeah. I mean, I think he needs to push for it. He needs to see what he can pull off. But yeah, he might need to move up to cruiserweight to get a solid size fight, man. So he might not have a choice.
If he ain't gonna get Bill next, why not put him in there with Callum Smith or Gene Pascal?
Yeah, that's the thing. Does Eddie Hearn want to risk Callum Smith? I mean, I love the fight, but does he want to risk Callum Smith by doing that? That's the big question. You know.
See, I was watching Hearn interview. He really didn't bring it up. I seen Hearn. He said something about Conor Benn supposed to be back September 3rd, the day they looking at.
Yeah.
Conor Benn is another fighter. You're gonna have to take the training wheels off eventually. Because he's top 5 in at least 3 ascension body, and he's going to be fighting those top dudes whether you like it or not. So you better go get him.
Well, they at least need to get him. They at least need to get him into a legitimate eliminator or contenders bout so he can get those big fights.
But hey, tell me, do you agree with this or not? In my opinion, it's kind of a bad look on Eddie Hearn and Conor Ben that they kept turning down the Abby Infant fight, and Virgil's taking that fight with no tune-up. He's taking that fight straight, year layoff, bag, and he's going straight into that fight.
I mean, I don't know. We don't know the whole story behind it. I mean,
Conor Ben, most likely, since Boots is going for the IBO, staying on the WBA, and Virgil going for WBA, they leave Ben with the WBO. And I was looking at the rankings in the WBO. If he winds up in an eliminating WBO, it's probably going to be against either Michael McKinson. I think it was Michael McKinson or Cody Crowley, who he might wind up to fight. And the Cody Crowley Conor Ben, that's a good fight.
yeah, it is. Two undefeated guys know how to box a little bit. So yeah, that's a really good fight. So, speaking of Boots, though, we're going to get to the Showtime card now. Boots took on Custio Clayton and wiped him out in only 2 rounds. Man, really good performance. What do you think?
I don't want to sound no broken record, but I keep saying it. It's time.
Yep.
But the Boots situation is different because the guys don't want to fight Boots. So, but Boots has to be in a big fight next. He has to be in a big fight next.
Well, I don't know if he's going to get a big fight because he's going to have to wait around for the winner of the Undisputed, and he ain't going to get either one of them either.
But he's in a good spot right now. He is the IBF mandatory, so he's going to wind up fighting for that belt. And I think it might be against Ivan Goulart, but I think the fight that needs to happen is him versus Keith Thurman. That's what needs to happen.
Well, they actually were. That was actually a rumor that fight's possible next, and that's big. I mean, if Thurman's willing to fight Boots, I mean, that's big.
Yeah,
that means Thurman's willing to take a risk. And the way I see that one right there, if what Thurman is doing is Thurman realizes that the only way that he could possibly fight Spence or Crawford and keep them at 147 for one more fight is if he goes and beats Boots.
Yeah, yeah. Thurman's in a position where, okay, let me put it like this. I'm gonna tell you this from what I see. These are Thurman's options. If he wants to fight somebody from his generation, it's either only option I can see is Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, or Adrian Broner. But if he wants to show that he's still that guy and that he deserves to fight the Aerosmith Bud winner, he's going to have to fight one of those young guys. And this thing about Thurman, and I really believe this, Thurman thought he was gonna walk right back into a title shot.
Yeah.
He thought he was gonna come back, get that tune up, and then walk straight into a title fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't happening. So you gonna have to.
Well, he's also priced himself out. He had opportunities with Spence and Crawford, and he prices himself out every time. So
I seen that when he beat Barrio, and he said, "Well, Spence is fighting Uga. He ain't available. We think about fighting Boot, or he's not fighting Bud." He said, "Well, we got to think about the split. I'm the A side. How are you the A side to Bud?"
Yeah, well, that's what they did is they were offering originally the PBC had an offer on the table for Bud of a 2-fight deal, and Thurman was the first fight.
Yeah,
and
I seen that, but by the time I seen that, I already knew it's too late now. You waited to if Thurman and Bud was the plan for Thurman that fight, that would have been announced in maybe March.
Yeah.
But Thurman, I would like to see him fight Booth in it because I think that's the type of fight Booth needs.
Yeah, that's a big name, and who knows, depending on how he looks, if Thurman can expose something about him, shit, the winner of Spence and Crawford might just stay at 147 and fight him. So you never know. But let's jump to the main event, man. What's up? Mike Hurd said, "What's up, guys? Just dropping by to say hi before I crash out tonight." What's up, Mike? Yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it, man. You want to comment on anything? Me and Melly will answer your questions or comment on whatever you comment on, man. We're gonna keep rolling for
Yeah.
now, but yeah, anything you want to throw out there, we'll answer for you, bud. Yeah, the main event. I mean, Charlo Castano 2, the rematch, undisputed. I'm just going to give the result and then we'll discuss it. Charlo scores a very, very impressive 10th. Was it 10th round or 11th round?
10.
I think it was 10th round knockout over Brian Castano. Impressive performance. Really good fight of the year candidate. Go, Melly. You got it, man. What do you think?
Jermell did what was necessary. He definitively won that fight. I feel like had that fight went to the 12th round of decision, that would have been for controversy. Because it was a pretty good fight. But Jermell, he's in a very interesting spot right now. Because if he stays at 154, he got the Tim Zoo fight, the Fandora fight. You got a potential Tony Harrison trilogy. You got those three options, or he can go to 160 and do that. But he's in an interesting spot right now. But after that performance right there, Jermell Charlo, if he ain't in your pound for pound list, I don't even think you have no credibility.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. He's definitely cleaned up the division. He made history. I want to mention that. I mean, becoming an undisputed champion in the four belt era is such a big deal in boxing, and that was a big win right there. And the thing was, is I agree with you. It might have been a controversial decision if it goes to the scorecards again because the thing was is I actually had Castano winning, but the judges had Charlo up. But the thing is what was interesting about the fight is it really was, are you going for the guy? Are you choosing the guy that was landing more shots and throwing more shots, or the guy that was landing the harder shots? And that was Charlo.
Mm-hmm.
But Castano was throwing more and landing a little bit more. And
Yeah.
I always call those a pick your poison fight. Is what do you choose in that scenario when you're judging a fight? So
from what I've seen in that fight, like you said, Castano, he was pushing the pace, he was putting the pressure, but the shots, but I can tell the difference between the first fight. Every punch Jermell in the first fight, the difference between the first and second fight was every punch Jermell landed, he was going for the knockout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time he would hit Castano, you can tell he's trying to knock Castano out.
Yeah, and the thing was, he was hitting. It wasn't just power shots either. It was perfectly timed shots. It was, and he was just very precise. He was sitting down on his punches. It was almost like he knew that unless he walked into Castano's punches, that Castano couldn't really hurt him, and he could definitely hurt Castano.
Another thing Jermell did that was a great adjustment. He stayed off the ropes.
Yes, yeah, he didn't allow it, and whenever he did get on the ropes, he punched first a lot of times when Castano was coming in, and that I think was a smart move, and yeah, it was just an impressive performance. But I did this on my YouTube channel about what Charlo's going to do next. Here's what I think is on the table for Jermell Charlo. If Crawford beats Spence, if they fight and Crawford beats Spence, I think Charlo would want to fight Crawford at 154. Defend whatever belts he has. I think he wants that big kind of fight before he moves up. So I think he's going to wait and see if Spence and Crawford happens. And if it does, I think he'll probably stay busy and fight probably like a Tim Zoo or possibly fight Castano or Harrison in a third fight just to stay busy while he waits around for Crawford.
I think if that was to be his plan, he would probably have to drop the WBO. But the WBO just ordered him versus Tim Zoo. Which Zoo?
He's got to drop. If he doesn't fight Zoo or Fundora, or either of them, both those belts are gone because Fundora is the interim champion, and he already made it clear he's not fighting him. So that belt's going to be gone.
Hey,
And if he doesn't fight Tim Tszyu, that belt's gone. So,
hey,
but the thing is Tszyu's got a decent name because of his dad. He's undefeated, and I think his style is tailor made for Charlo. So Charlo, in my opinion, he's knocking out. If he goes and fights Tszyu and knocks him out, it's another undefeated guy on your list, and you're showing no fear by fighting him. So I think it's a good move. And again, Tim Tszyu's dad was a very good
hey,
champion and brings a big name. So
hey, what you think about this? I threw this out. I threw it out there. Threw it out there. If Jamel decides to vacate all the belts, I would like to see Tony Harrison versus Fundora for the WBC and Castano versus Zoo for the WBO.
well, it wouldn't be that. If that happens, it would be
Zoo versus.
Castano would fight Kurbanov. I mean, Zoo would fight Kurbanov for the vacant WBO
No,
belt. But
I
I,
don't think so because I think last
well,
time I checked,
Kurbanov's ranked number 2, and he beat Liam Smith last year. So if the
I
belt goes
think
on the line, it's going to be Kurbanov against Tim Zoo for the
I think
vacant
the
belt.
WBO moved Liam Smith ahead of him. I wasn't sure that I seen the ranking. So Tim Zoo Liam Smith, that's a good fight.
Yeah, that's a good fight. But I think no matter what, I honestly believe it's going to be Fundora and Tony Harrison next because Harrison's will want a world title. If he actually beat Sergio Garcia, more impressive than Fundora did. And Fundora's coming off that big win against Erickson Lubin, and
Fundora,
that's a big fight. So
Fundora is, like Fundora is one of those guys that if I was a boxer, I wouldn't be too enthusiastic about fighting him.
oh,
Cause
not at all. Yeah.
cause how do you even prepare for a fighter like that?
You got to hope you land the right shot against him.
You
That's it.
talking about
So,
a 6'6", 54-pounder who who's not trying, who's not trying to fight you at a distance. He's gonna
yeah.
be in your face that whole fight. He
Yeah.
got
And Lubin almost had him, but he couldn't keep up, man.
that
So,
volume and that pace of Fundora is. Combine that with his height and his reach, plus with that volume and pace, that's a hard ass fight.
yeah,
But
I
but
agree.
the one thing I don't like about Fundora is he doesn't use that reach or that height at all.
Not at
Like
all. Yeah.
he should not be getting hit as much as he get hit.
Well, the thing, but look at it like this, though, bro. If he doesn't fight the way that he fights, do you think anybody wants to get in the ring with him? If he
No,
just stands back and boxes?
oh no, ain't nobody
No. So,
no.
so, so honestly, I think he realizes that the only way he can get guys to get in the ring with him is by fighting the style that he fights.
And another thing about Fundora that I think people tend to overrate. Fundora is not them huge 154 pound. He just tall as hell.
Yeah.
Like he
Well,
just
eventually somebody's gonna crack him, and I'm interested in seeing him get hurt really hurt. So,
but
but yeah, great win for Charlo though, man. No doubt there. And the final fight we're going to talk about is probably the biggest one of the month. Yeah, Canelo against
hey,
Bivol, May 7th. What Canelo loses a unanimous decision to Bivol. Go, man. What do you think?
I wasn't surprised Bivol won. I mean I picked Canelo to win by unanimous decision, but I wasn't surprised Bivol won because I've always said I felt Bivol was one of the few guys that can beat Canelo just from a stylistic standpoint. Cause just from the style match. But when I watched that fight, it kind of like the early rounds kind of went how I thought it was gonna go. Bill outboxed down the inside, which showed me that this was gonna be a hard fight for Canelo. Was when I started to see Bill win the inside battle. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, Canelo, yeah, this gonna be a long night. When I started seeing Bill was out muscling Canelo, out striking Canelo on the inside, where Canelo was supposed to have the major advantage, I was like, oh yeah, this gonna be a hard fight.
Yeah, well, what I saw the difference early on was Canelo at first was being the more aggressive fighter and pushing Bivol to the ropes, and Bivol was letting him. But when Canelo was pushing him to the ropes, and then he wasn't sure what Bivol was going to throw back at him and hesitated, Bivol just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to throw at you then." And Bivol started tagging him with some really good shots
And
off of his back feet, and then started pushing the action. That's when
and
everything changed, dude. It really did.
and this another thing I noticed. Canelo fought Bivol the exact same way he was fighting at 168. He starts
Yeah.
off slow, gets outboxed early, throws those arm shots, and walks forward trying to counter throwing those arm shots, and then eventually his opponent gets wore down by the power and he gets open for those big shots. But Bivol could take that power. And I felt Canelo, I, I, I feel like since Canelo left 160 and went to 168, he became a lot more reliant on his power.
Yeah, well,
Like he starts off slow and he'll get outboxed early because he knows his power gonna bail him out. But the Bivol fight is because I don't know if we might have seen different, but to me, Canelo looked tired. By round 8, Canelo looked exhausted.
yeah, I think it was. I think there was a combination of things, but I think mostly it was Canelo. I think Canelo was expecting a similar result to his last couple fights with Bivol, and when Bivol was still there and throwing combinations and landed, there was a point in the fight because Canelo said this prior to the fight. He said, "After the 6th round, the fight's going to change. I'm going to have them figured out." And the thing was, I remember watching at the end of the 6th round, there was a point where Canelo kind of paused and he looked confused. He looked confused, like he didn't know what to do.
And,
And I was like, and I went, heading into the second half of the fight. And Bivol completely took the fight over in the second half and
and I
dominated.
said
So,
this. I told a lot of people this, and a lot of Canelo stands did not want to listen. I said, bro, Bivol is the first elite level fighter Canelo has faced since Daniel Jacobs at 160. So it's going to be a whole different fight for Canelo than it was when he was fighting at 168. I said that.
yeah, well, I agree with you. I thought he was the best dude he'd fought since Triple G. And I said, and also, I think where Canelo made the mistake is choosing a guy like Bivol and as part of the first fight of a 2 to 3 fight
Yeah,
deal. I thought that was a mistake
I
because
did.
you're focusing on other fights after that, and
That's
especially the biggest fight in boxing right there. I mean,
yeah.
that's what you're focusing.
That's another thing I didn't understand. Like you got this hard ass fight coming up in May against Bill when you're talking about a fight in December. Like you're planning your next 2 fights out already. Like Bill was just like you just knew like
It was like he was overlooking the wall. And you do not overlook a guy like Dimitri Bivol. You just don't, especially when you're moving up in weight. You know.
Bivol.
So
Bivol is a good Bivol. I think another thing that made Canelo more confident was physically. There's nothing about Bivol that is spectacular. He's just a very, very skilled boxer, and that's the
well,
thing.
it's
Bivol
the
didn't.
it's the, it's the old saying. I've been saying this for a long time with a lot of sports. Is he's not great at any one thing, but he's very, very good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Precisely. And
Yep.
the thing about Bivol, and another thing I noticed about Bivol that was smart. I know that Bivol was doing was, you know how Canelo got a habit. He'll lean on the ropes and bait his opponent to come in. He'll counter him. Bivol wasn't going for that. Anytime Canelo tried that, Bivol would step back to the center of the ring and tell Canelo, "No, you come out
Yeah.
here. I'm not going, but you come over here."
Yeah. Bivol had a game plan, but what? Okay, let's move on now. Do you, what do you think about Canelo fighting Triple G in a third fight instead of Bivol next?
Mm. I mean, I don't have really have a huge problem with it. I mean, as a fan, I would have preferred him go fight the Bivol rematch, but I don't have a massive problem with him fighting Triple G for the simple fact. To me, it's very similar to you remember the Floyd Zab Judah situation?
Yeah.
When Floyd and Zab Judah already had their fight signed, but
And Zab
Zab
lost.
Judah lost the fight before that, but they still did it because they already had it signed. That's kind of like how I looked at the Canelo Triple G fight. It's kind of like the same situation to me. They already had it signed, but one guy lost, but they're still going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have a big problem with Triple G versus Canelo 3 if Canelo was fighting Bivol right after.
Yeah, I'm with you. And to be honest, people got to understand the business side of this. So this is a fight that uh, DAZN, I don't think people realize how much money DAZN shelled out for Canelo and Triple G back a few years ago. They
Yep.
signed Canelo that huge, what was it, $365
Yep.
million deal, 11
Half
fights.
the fight, $300 some million.
And then they signed Triple G to a 6-fight, $100 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was predicated on the fact that Canelo and Triple G were going to fight one or two more times.
And
So, this fight with the zone pay-per-view, with the zone cranking out the money, and it had to happen no matter what, whether he lost to Bivol or not. This fight had to happen. It has to happen. So
like,
it's kind of that's kind of where it lands. Canelo wants to fight. Triple G wants to fight. It's a lot of money.
like, but
You
like,
know,
but like me and you said earlier though, if that was the plan for the zone, why would you put the Bivol fight first?
again, I think that's Canelo's choosing right there. That one falls on Canelo, and if Canelo
But
decides to overlook a guy like Bivol, that's Canelo's mistake.
I think
That's where
I seen Eddie Hearn say this. Eddie Hearn said he said that Canelo might have felt Bivol was an easier matchup because in Bivol's last 2-3 fights he didn't look that impressive. He got hit a little bit more than he should have. He didn't look that impressive. So Canelo
Well,
might think, oh,
the thing is about Bivol. Bivol doesn't look impressive in a lot of fights the last few years. But here's the thing:
but
he wins every round of all those
that's what I'm
fights.
saying. Like he Bivol wasn't looking impressive, but he's damn near pitching shutouts.
Yeah, hey, bro, you're coming in really choppy the last couple minutes, man. So
Um, yeah,
yeah, I can hear you, but you're breaking up a little bit.
yeah, I've been hearing a little bit of static from your side. But
So yeah, so it was I really don't have a problem with it, with that fight. I really don't at all. And I think it's a good matchup. So, it's the biggest fight that can happen right now. And let's be honest, at the end of the day, you're looking at the undisputed champion at 168 fighting the number one middleweight in the world at 160. So
but
you can't really complain about that.
it was a see, but this thing, like it's going back to earlier this year, before the Bivol fight was ever really announced, when Eddie Reynoso was talking about their plans. He said we plan on fighting twice this year, once in Las Vegas, once in Mexico. Now, as soon as he said they want to fight in Mexico later this year, I knew they were fighting Triple G. Now Canelo, I mean, I'm not gonna deny the fact Canelo Triple G is it a little late? Yes, it's late, but Triple G Canelo 3 for undisputed in Mexico is big. Regardless of how you feel, it's big. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sorry, man. It's still coming in all choppy off your end. I'm listening to you, though.
But I ain't gonna. I know. I know the zone was mad because I know they didn't plan on that happening.
Yeah, but now they're in a no-win situation. They have to have that fight, so it has to go down. So, anyways, we're gonna skip the middle part that we were gonna do. We can save that for next time. We're just gonna get into the June preview here and start talking about some of the fights in June and making some predictions. So, there's fights on every weekend. Let's jump into the June 4th action on the zone. Highlighted by 130 pounders. Kenichi Ogawa against Joe Cordina. Ogawa making the first defense of his belt. Have you seen Ogawa fight, bro?
Not really, but I'm interested to see him fight now just because of him being a potential promotion curse. I wanna get a good good look at Ogawa, see how he is before I really just say how I fight with him and Shakur go.
Yeah, Cordina's undefeated. Not really known. No, he hasn't really beaten anybody. But Ogawa throws a lot of punches, man. He's kind of an all action guy. So I'm
I
looking
feel
forward to
like
seeing him in it too.
when you're a fighter and you get to the point where you done rolled up the ranking and to now you're at a point where now your name is getting mentioned with the big fights. The fight is that upcoming. You have to look impressive to keep your name in that conversation.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Delta Barrett's fighting some dude named Kurbanov on the undercard. Delta Barrett's actually the mandatory to Kenichi Ogawa, so that's going to be interesting. Them both fighting on the same card. That's on the zone on Saturday. I'm picking Ogawa by a stoppage or a decision, and I'm picking Zelfa Barrett to win his fight too.
The fight I'm interested to see on June 4th is the Camboso Haney fight, the Morales. Ain't Stephen Fulton fighting that day too?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is the Showtime card has Stephen Fulton and Daniel Roman in the main event for the unified super bantamweight title at 122. That's going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward to that one.
The co-main, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. David Morrell's fighting on the co-main against Kelvin Henderson. I think Morrell's going to get the knockout there. I think Stephen Fulton's going to get a convincing decision over Daniel Roman.
If Morrell wins, just like Benavidez, I think him versus Benavidez makes a lot of sense. And if Stephen Fulton wins, I think his next fight should be for the Undisputed Championship.
Yeah, we got to get there though. They got to clear up mandatories and stuff. And for Stephen Fulton, Roman is the mandatory to both his belts, so he lucks out right there. But the dude that has the other two belts, the guy who has the other two belts, he's got mandatories due coming up. So I don't know if that's going to be so easy to do, but I hope so. I want to see that as well.
The Haney Camboso fight is going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, ESPN, man, that's going to be a good one.
I got David Haney winning that fight.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. I got him winning a closer than expected decision, but
I will say this though: if Camboso win, and I'm talking about Camboso won cleanly, it would not surprise me.
Yeah, me neither. Kambosos is a fighter, man. He likes to get in there and mix it up. He's a fighter. So.
I think the thing about that fight is, I think the winner of that fight, regardless who wins between the two, they need to make a statement.
Yeah.
I think you could, like we were talking about earlier, 135 is so stacked. Even though these two guys are fighting for undisputed, there are like two other fighters that you can argue is the best.
Yeah. Well, that fight's going to be a good one. And like I said, I don't know. The only thing that has me a little worried for Haney is the fact that his dad and his second trainer aren't going to be there. So that's going to be interesting.
I think the one thing I would give Joel Judah, I think he can help Haney is because I think he might implement a more aggressive game plan because Zach Judah was an aggressive fighter, but also a very skilled fighter. Now, I'm not saying David Haney is Zach Judah, but I think Haney he's gonna need to flat out. He's gonna need to knock out Camboso
or he flat out dominate Camboso. Like, but
Yeah, I could see either one, but I agree with you that I can see Kambosos winning by a convincing one too.
people,
So we'll see.
but like, I know the plan is for, if, say, like, if Camboso win, I know the plan is for Camboso to fight Loma. But what if Tank says, I'm signing with ESPN? You know they're going to make that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. It depends on where Loma's at with the whole Ukraine
But
situation and
see,
Russia. I mean, it just
if
depends, man.
I will admit, I would say this though. If Haney wins, we know what's going to happen next. If Camboso win, that opens up a lot of different possibilities. Because you got the Tank fight, he's WBA mandatory. You got Loma, he's the WP, the WBO mandatory. You got Ryan, he's a huge fight. And then you got the X Factor of potentially Shakur moving up and becoming mandatory to the winner. So Camboso win, you have a lot of it's a lot. I think Camboso win, there's a lot more possibilities than with
Well, I
Haney.
don't think so. I don't think so, to be honest. I really think if Kambosos wins, it's Loma
I mean,
because it's the
I would,
biggest fight. It's the fight that was supposed to happen, you know. So
I would agree. The most likely would be Loma, but if but if there's a chance for a Tank Camboso fight, believe me, ESPN is gonna try to make that happen.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's interesting because I think whatever way you go, if Tank is willing to come to ESPN, I think they can keep him busy ahead of fighting the winner. And I would love to see Loma and Tank, dude. I've wanted to see that fight for years. So
Oh yeah.
we'll see.
Um,
But let's
we
move on to the 7th now on ESPN. That's actually on a Tuesday. You're going to have to catch it early in the morning, but you got a great rematch between Naoya Inoue, the monster, as he takes on Nonito Donaire
is
on ESPN. That's a
is
great fight.
is is anyway and no Donir on on free TV.
Yeah, it's on ESPN.
Oh yeah. You know this. I'm just gonna throw up. You know if I would like to see fight the winner,
Who's
I
that?
would really like to see Chocolatito versus the winner.
He would have to move up in weight to 118, but yeah, that wouldn't be a bad
But
idea.
most likely, the winner of that fight, they're going to go after the WBO belt.
Yeah, to become undisputed. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, if I'm anyway, I think that would be I think that'd be a smart move. I say anyway, if he managed to beat them there, then then he goes and becomes undisputed. I wouldn't have a problem if he stayed at 118. If he becomes undisputed 118 and get one more last big title finish in Chocolatito, that would be huge.
Yeah, that'd be a big fight, but I
But
think Inoue is going to
I
beat
think
Donito. I think
I
the first
really
time I think the first time around he was overlooking Donaire, but the fact that Donaire's got better since that fight too, that he's looking like his old self at his older age.
yeah, it
I
could
mean,
be.
it's interesting that Donaire's got a shitload of power at 118, man. So it
Mhm.
really could go either way. The first fight was great.
I
I'm
like
looking forward to this
I
one.
like I like anyway because I've always said this. I really want to see anyway go to Manny Pacquiao around this, climb the V. I think he can get to 126. I
Yeah,
think
probably.
I think 126 would be his limit. And if he went to 126, let's say he managed, but like I don't know because they say if you go to 122, him versus Fulton is like it's about 50-50 if you can get.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man. But it should be a good fight. That's on Tuesday, June 7th on ESPN. And again, that's going to be in the really early morning in the United States. So make sure you're checking out your time on that. On the 11th now, June 11th, Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois for the heavyweight title, man. There's no set TV network for that one, but I'm interested in that fight. I like that fight. I think it's going to be a good one.
Um,
I got Daniel Dubois beating Trevor
this
Bryan
is,
though.
in my opinion, this is this is the the now or never fight for Dubois.
I think it's more the now or never fight for Brian, to be honest.
Brian too. He's had that belt for a minute, and he been getting hyped a good amount of hype also. I think, but I think the winner of this fight is going to have to fight the winner of Hughie Fury and Michael Hunter. And those two winners fight each other is a good fight.
Yeah, yeah, those are good. Those are good heavyweight bouts right there. But I'm picking Dubois on that one, man. I think he's going to get Trevor Bryan out there. Um, Also on the 11th on ESPN, Edgar Berlanga's coming back, taking on Alexis Angulo. So we'll see how good he looks in this one. I mean, Romer Angulo. I'm sorry. Yeah, Romer Alexis Angulo.
I think
Angulo's been in there with Zerto. He's been in there with Benavidez. So Berlanga, this is a big test for Berlanga right here.
I think Xandar is fighting that same day too.
Who's that?
Xandar Aziz.
Yeah, he is. He's on the undercard.
Yeah, he's at 154. He's an interesting fighter I'm gonna watch too, but the only problem with him is I have is he's with top rank and all the top guys that are with PBC. So, you know, that's gonna be an issue once you start getting into the top level and the championship level. But
Yeah.
same with Berlinga. But Berlinga, he he really Berlinga really needs an impressive victory because I feel like you had the 16 you had the KO streak, then your last three fights they've been okay. I think he really I think
Well, it's going to be a
Berlinga
firefight. It's going to be a
Berlinga
firefight, him and
is
Angulo, man. It really is. It's not going to be an easy one. I think they're gonna go toe to toe, but
in
I
my
think Berlanga
opinion
probably gets a decision in this one because he just hasn't looked good his last few fights, in my opinion. He just looked so. But we'll see.
see my thing about Berlinga, I think he he fell in love with his power and when the power isn't working, it's like he has nothing, like he doesn't trust anything else.
Yeah, agreed.
But at the same time, I think he's number 6 in the WBO range, so he's only probably fighting for WBO belt, and he would probably want to have to fight maybe Zach Parker, maybe Boo Boo. But I think if Berlanga were to win that fight, I would who would I like to see? Who I think would be another a good step up for him? I would say maybe Daniel Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs ain't fighting him, I don't think. But well, yeah, we can get to that once the fight's over with. But I'm picking him to win that one. But also on the 11th, Munguia's fighting this Jimmy Kelly.
Jimmy from Subway. That's what I call him.
What's that?
I call him Jimmy from Subway.
He's actually a little bit better than that, but not much. He actually defeated he
I
defeated
think is
in his last fight he beat undefeated Kanat Islam, who was
my
ranked pretty
thing
high.
about that Monguia fight is I think this is everybody's reaction. What's the point?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's got to do something else.
Like it's
Fighting
like,
Kelly
bro,
doesn't really do much for him.
it's like
But he's got to be impressive and win by knockout, and I think he will on that one.
it's,
So
it's like Golden Boy. Monguia had like 4 opportunities for a title. Like you, like Monguia's like when when are we going to see Monguia getting with a top guy? Like you're going to have to eventually. You're going to
yeah,
have. You're going to have. You're going to have to put Monguia in a tough fight eventually. You're going to have to.
yeah. Well, we'll keep moving on. That's the 11th. That's on the zone. Let's move on to the 18th. We're going to start with the Showtime card. Um, Undercard got Rais Salim against Mike Plania. That's a pretty good 122-pound super bantamweight bout right there. I'm looking forward to that one. I got Alim winning that one, but it should be a lot of action. Should be good. But the main event, Charlo and Sulecki for the WBC middleweight title. What do you think, man?
That's a bullshit fight, in my opinion.
But let me ask this. I agree that Charlo shouldn't be fighting him. But let me ask you something. In terms of stylistically, I don't think Sulecki, it wouldn't surprise me if Sulecki upset Charlo in this one. I think it's a better matchup than people are giving it credit for.
I think Jamal Charlo, his last couple fights, he haven't looked that impressive, especially coming off the Montiel fight. So most likely the PBC put him in there with Selecki, get him a knockout, put some momentum back on his side. But tell me if I'm tripping when I say this. After that Mike Tyson interview, a lot of Jamal Charlo fans fell back.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Hold on. Let's stay on point. Let's stay on the Selecki fight for a minute. Because I think a lot of people are overlooking Selecki. I
It's
think Charlo, I don't
it's
think
gonna
people
be
are going to be surprised. I don't think people are going to be surprised if he wins. But here's the thing.
a fight.
They're saying they want him to get the knockout, right? You just said that. They want him to get the knockout. When was the last time Sulecki got knocked out? Because Andre didn't knock him out and Jacobs didn't knock him out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Charlo has to knock out Sulecki for this to mean anything at all.
Yeah, I think if he goes 12 rounds for Selecki, it's gonna be a bad look, especially
Yeah, it's going to be like, so what?
especially if it's a competitive decision.
Yeah, if he can knock him out and get him out of there, then I think the fight, it's whatever. You could chalk it up to something, not much,
But
but to something. But
you know,
if he goes in there and just gets a bullshit decision over him, then everybody's going to be like, well, that's what Andre did, and that's what Daniel Jacobs did. So what?
the worst thing that can happen to Charlo is not losing to him. It's looking terrible against
Yeah,
and winning against him.
yeah, agreed. Well, you still there? All right, my boy Melly's off right now, so we're gonna keep it rolling. And just announce the next big fight that's coming up also on the 18th. Hopefully Melly gets back on here in a minute. But on ESPN, the light heavyweight unification bout is on between Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. But before that, there's a really exciting featherweight undercard fight between two guys on the rise. Robesai Ramirez, 9-1, been one of Bob Arum's, studs of the future on the rise. He's been making his moves, trying to get into the mix and become a serious contender. He's taken on Abraham Supernova. That's a big fight right there for those two little guys. Nova's, I want to say he's 20-0 with 15 knockouts. So these are two guys on the rise at featherweight trying to make a name, and now they're fighting each other. And to be honest, I can't wait. I really can't wait. I think it's going to be fun and interesting, and it's going to be a solid fight. I'm not even going to make a prediction. You know what I am? I'll take Ramirez in this one, but I think Nova has just as good a chance to pull off the upset and or to pull off the win. But I think it's a really good matchup on the undercard. But the main event, man, you can't sleep on Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. You just can't. It's a good matchup for as long as it lasts, because this is one of those kind of fights that could end in the first 3 or 4 rounds, or it could go longer and be a dogfight all the way down to the end. Beterbiev has 2 belts. Joe Smith has 1. Beterbiev's coming in the favorite. Joe Smith, if he can, the thing about Joe Smith is he has the power to knock Beterbiev out, and if he can knock him out and make a statement, then he is the new dog. He's the top dog at right behind Dimitri Bivol, of course, because Bivol has a win over him, but he'll hold 3 of the 4 belts, so he could demand that fight at some point, even though the winner is likely going to fight Anthony Yard later this year. Hold on one second, I'm getting Melly back up in here.
Are you hear me?
What up, Melly?
I think.
Yeah, your stuff's still coming in all choppy though.
Yeah, my phone had got too hot. That's why I left the group for a minute. But
Gotcha.
the Joe Smith Beterbiev fight, I think stylistically, Beterbiev is a better matchup for Joe Smith stylistically than Bivol.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Beterbiev he's gonna leave
He
this
likes the bang.
in this fight. I would not be surprised if Joe Smith Jr. hurts
or even drop Benavidez or something. But I feel like
Oh, I won't be surprised if Joe Smith knocks him out. I won't, not at all.
because Joe Smith Jr. is not the most skilled fighter, but what he has in his hands,
Dangerous.
he's dangerous because like he might not be the best skilled boxer, but the motherfucker knows how to fight.
And I really think this is a fight of the year candidate we're looking at right here, man. I
I
mean,
feel
it could
like
be. It could be.
I think better. This is my prediction. I think Benavidez wins in a later knockout, but I feel like there's at least 2 knockdowns. Both fighters get dropped in this fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. I think Better Be is going to get him. But one style I think Better Be might implore in this one. He might go back and look at Triple G versus David Lemieux, and he might box. I think he might surprise some people and box Joe Smith and break him down the way Triple G did to David.
I really don't want to see the winner fight Anthony Yarde. I want to see the winner go straight into a Bivol fight.
Dude, I feel you, but Anthony Yarde, that's a good fight, man. For the
Yarde
that is a good fight.
Anthony Yarde, he can crack and he got some good defense. But I just feel like some fights, the time makes too much. You got the Better BL winner coming off that win, and Bill coming off a win over Canelo. I think the timing just makes so much sense because
but that fight's already locked in, though, man. I mean, Anthony Yarde, Frank Warren's already talking about the winner fighting Anthony Yarde in October, man. So that fight's locked up. But I actually like that fight, to be honest, because if Anthony Yarde comes out of that as the top dog, then and Canelo can beat Bivol, then you're looking at potentially undisputed at 175 in the second half of next year, and that'd be good, man. I mean, I like it. I like Anthony Yarde a lot. I like seeing him get a shot at it, man. So we'll see. But moving on, the last card to talk about is actually a really good card with a bunch of little dudes on it on June 25th on DAZN. You got first off, what's her name? Jessica McCaskill is defending her undisputed welterweight title on that card. And that's the fourth best fight on the card. MJ, the other guy, we were just talking about Stephen Fulton at the beginning of the month, the other undefeated unified champion at 122, Marajan Akhmadaliyev, MJ, they call him. He's fighting veteran Ronnie Rios. That's on the undercard. That's a good ass fight right there. I got MJ winning that one. That's going to be a fun one. Check that dude out if you haven't seen him, because he could very well be fighting Stephen Fulton for the undisputed title.
The Ben Rodriguez card?
Yeah, that's the one I'll talk about. We're going to get to that one in a minute. But the co-feature is a really good rematch between Julio Cesar Martinez and McWilliams Arroyo. They fought last year.
That's
three rounds of hell, and now they're rematching. Martinez trying to move up. He lost to Chocolatito. He's coming back down to defend his belt, and he's taking on McWilliams Arroyo, a very good veteran. That's a good fight.
Martinez, he had 112, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's a good fight.
I would really like Martinez. If he were to win, I would say go back and fight. If Bam win, match him up.
Yeah,
but Bam,
there's a lot of good fights at 112 and 115.
Man, he got a hard ass fight coming up.
Yeah,
he fighting the man that beat Chocolatito. Chocolatito at his peak.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Yeah, you're talking about Rungzavai. Yeah, that's a good ass fight. I can't wait to see that, man. That's a good ass fight.
Twice when Chocolatito was probably the best.
He knocked him the fuck out in the rematch. That wasn't even close. And here's the thing is, you got Estrada still sitting there, and Estrada, the only dude that beat Rungzavai beat Estrada, and then Estrada came back and beat him in a rematch close decision. So if Jesse Rodriguez at 15-0 could beat Rungzavai, man, he's right there in the Chocolatito mix. That's good.
One thing I would say about Jesse Rodriguez, they're throwing him to the wolves.
It is, but if he passes the test, it's a big test.
Hey,
it's a big.
Hey, if you had to look at Jesse Rodriguez and you had to act like, I think you're like 23, 24, 22, somewhere in that range. How old Ben Rodriguez is?
Yeah, he's young, dude. He's around that age.
What do you think his Mac is like? I don't think his prime is at 115. Well, I think Bam Rodriguez prime is probably gonna be around 122.
Well, the thing is, a lot of these guys in the lower weights, they pop off at a younger age because they can take the punishment on their bodies and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just a wait and see. He's got to pass Rungvisai. If he gets
Mm-hmm.
past Rungvisai, then we can talk about all that stuff about where he can go and what he can do because
I like
this is
Bam.
a big test to pass.
I like Bam because he might have the best footwork of anybody in the lower weight classes.
Yeah, we'll
His
see,
foot,
man. We'll see.
his
Yep.
footwork.
So that's all for the month of
What
June, and
what about if he win, put him in there with either Estrada or Chocolatito?
yeah, for real. I mean, that's what I want to
Like,
see.
but I seen some they was talking about Estrada and Chocolatito might be doing that trilogy soon.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. To be honest, I think it's going to be those two, and then the winner of Rodriguez and Rungvisai is probably going to fight the winner of Chocolatito and Estrada.
That's
So
mega.
you know,
That's
oh, that's
mega.
huge. That's huge. Yeah. So really good card to close out the month of June. And I don't know. We can probably do it for a couple minutes, but I told Melly to come up with a couple knockouts, memorable knockouts. Doesn't have to be the best ever, just the ones that you like. And I came up with a couple. I'm gonna let Melly. Which ones you come up with, man? Just favorite knockouts that you've seen over the years.
Some of my favorite knockouts. I really talking like recent knockouts.
Any of them, bro. It don't matter.
Oh yeah, now we going. Oh okay. Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran. I think that was just a perfect. Like
Mm.
that fight was destruction. I liked when Roy Jones did the behind hand behind his back, knocked him back of head. It was perfect. But this might not have been a knockout, but Floyd Mayweather got it because that was just
Oh, he beat him down. Yeah,
like that was just that was a beat down. Like you said, that was a
yeah,
beat down. Like
yeah.
after after round one, they was like, oh, I'm like, oh, the first time I watched that fight, after round one, I was like, oh, if this is not finna be a pretty fight.
Yeah. Well, let me go in order. One thing I remember about the Tommy Hearns knockout was what he said later. He said it's like he felt it all the way up his arm. That's how hard he hit him, you know, when he knocked out Roberto Duran. So that,
But
that was different. Yeah.
one thing I
Uh,
like about the Four Kings was they were the definition of style make fights.
styles make fights, but also fearless. All of them. They wanted to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the couple that I'm going to throw out there, man. Sergio Martinez over Paul Williams in their rematch when he knocked him
That
out.
was that was huge at that time.
That was brutal too, man, because it was a rematch. The first fight was great. They were trying to decide who the best middleweight in the world was. Everybody thought, man, this is going to be another fight of the year. And the funny thing was, is they both threw the left hand at the same time. But oh my God, the
He
way he
folded.
faced Paul Williams, wow,
Folded Williams.
brutal. Yeah, but Williams was out, and I remember his eyes were just glazed over, and he was looking out of the ring. It was just amazing,
You
amazing
gotta ask
knockout.
me what was the scariest knockout in the last few years. I gotta say when Juan Marquez knocked out Manny, that was shocking at that point in time.
That was shocking, and it was huge. That was the next one I was going to talk about. Is just
Like
that that to me, like I remember watching that fight, and I jumped up and I said, "That's history." Because to knock out a great fighter like Manny Pacquiao like that
and
in the fourth fight, Marquez's nose was broken. It was just, and their
and I think
rivalry was such a great rivalry. I mean, what a
people
knockout! That was huge.
people thought the man killed Manny.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The people went
And
insane
and I
because
think and I think for Marquez it was even better because it was validation for him because
oh yeah,
that there's a lot of people and there's a lot of people who will make the argument that they'll make that out of the four-time Manny fought Marquez, he may only beat him once.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree. And the thing was is he never beat him decisively. It was always close fights, you know. So and
Yeah,
I remember going into that fight, Manny Manny told Freddie Roach and this is the first time he said that with Marquez. He told him, "I'm going to knock him out." He wanted to knock Marquez out, and dude, he had Marquez hurt. Marquez broke his nose. He was bleeding out of his nose, and he doesn't land that punch, and that fight goes to the 7th round. Manny might finish him because Manny started to get to Marquez. And remember, they traded knockdowns earlier on. I mean, that was just a great fight and a great,
Manny
a great rivalry.
those two do their styles with
Perfect.
it's like they had the perfect two styles to match up with each other.
Absolutely perfect. To me, that is my favorite rivalry of my generation was Pacquiao Marquez. You know, I mean, 4 times, and they were all great fights, all memorable, great fights. So, yeah. But all right, man. Well, we're gonna wrap it up with that, man. Close on that note. We'll try to get back mid-June. If we don't, we'll definitely be back at the end of June to do another podcast. We'll talk about what's coming up in July. And that's pretty much it. Remember, follow me on YouTube, True Boxing. Melly, got anything to say? You want to promote anything before we get off?
No, I just want to say, man, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. You know, like the video. It's going to be posted up tomorrow, and just keep tuning in. We'll keep trying to better ourselves and do the best we can. I hope you guys have a good one. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.